Okay, you ready to get learned? Wow, it's gonna be a rough night, huh? Okay, so tonight we're going to be covering a little bit out of the data structures book. We're going to be looking at arrays and how they are utilized, which happens to be, where is it? It's here somewhere.
I got it at 257.
257, page 257.
I said, no, I said I doubt it's 57. The number I opened.
Oh. Well, it's not. Let's see.
Never noted.
So, basically, what an array is, what I want you to think about, is creating.
Maybe it is.
It's creating a what I like to use the term a bookcase. So what I mean by that is, well, so
You want an array list?
we're going to cover both.
Okay, because array list is chapter 6.
Thank you. So what I want you to think about is we're going to create an array. And again, it's just a bookcase. So I grab and I just create a square box, which is a bookcase. Now, that's what we're going to do right off the bat. What we need to do at some point before we can load data into it is we need to put in shelves. So then I will basically then put in a shelf. I will put in a shelf, and a shelf. Okay? Now these shelves are numbered. This one's going to be 0. This one's going to be 0. This is going to be 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's kind of weird looking 3, but that works. So that's how we're going to utilize them. So if I were to call this particular box, I'm going to call this particular bookcase, I'm going to call it students. Okay? So there's my students, and it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different shelves. 0, 1, 2, 0, 1 through 4. And so in this first one, I'm going to put in John. In the second one, I'm going to put in Sue. In this third one, I'm going to put in Bill. I'm going to put in Kim. And we're going to go ahead and put in Suzanne. Okay? So, we can load it with data. Now, if I need to get those out, I will call this first. So if I need to get John out of that first shelf, I will actually call it students, left square bracket, 0, right square bracket. So that's basically how I will get the data out of that particular item. So I call it by its bookcase name, and then I grab its shelf number. So let's go ahead and open up Eclipse. And we'll just go ahead and create one from scratch.
Chapter 7 is locked. No. Yeah, chapter 7 is all over.
Good, that's what I thought.
Not in that book.
I know.
In this book. This book is chapter 6. At least that's where it's from. 6.1 is array list, so that's funny because I just opened up the book.
So we're going to again. I want you to kind of keep this particular ideal in the back of your mind as we're creating arrays tonight. Just think of the bookcase and think about the shelves. The shelves start with 0 and they're numbered. Okay?
Okay, say you want to pull all of them out and add them together. How do you do that?
You'd have to do a loop.
A loop with the plus plus.
Yes, you would do
Okay.
a loop loop. You could do a loop, or you could do a for loop.
Because that's where I was. I couldn't remember how to pull them out. And
Yeah, you
add them
would.
together.
Yeah, you would just do a loop that would. It's taking its sweet time.
When do you usually?
Hmm?
When do you usually?
It always does. Actually, it's loading a lot into memory, so it's understandable.
My laptop was down for a minute until I was convinced my husband to look at all of his junk off of it. He went and downloaded a movie and brought up the movie and put it somewhere on it.
Good. That'll teach him.
I can't even log into the state right now.
Okay, so let's do a file, and point to new, and Java project. And let's just go ahead and call this array example. And we'll say finish. And then I'm going to expand that. We're going to do a right click on the SRC folder. Point to new and class. This should be all old hat for us. We'll call it array example as well. We're going to make it a public static void main. And we are going to click finish. And then double click on this. Well, it should open it. There it is. So there it is. I'm going to click. Now remember, in order to do executable code, it has to be inside of a method. So inside of here, we are going to create an array. So let's go ahead and type in string space students, and then put a left square bracket, right square bracket, space equals new string.
Son of a.
You okay?
You have to look before I write.
Oh, some people have that problem with they speak. They should think before they speak. But so they will type in string, then in left square bracket, we'll go ahead and type in the number 5, and then at the end. So if you remember this from, let me increase this a little bit.
Can you make that bigger?
I'm going to.
It's blurry and I can't see it.
Yeah.
60 my glasses.
Okay. So there we have the. So there we have our array. So let's take a look at it. So we're declaring it. This is basically a variable. It's a string data type. The name of it is called students. The left and right square brackets say this is going to be an array. So these two lines right here, these two phrases right here, have just created the bookcase. It has no shelves in it. We're going to instantiate it as a brand new bookcase, and this guy says we're going to put 5 shelves into it. And those shelves numbers are going to be called 0 through 4. So I come down here and I'm going to type in scanner, uppercase S, keyboard, equals new scanner. Then I put in a left parenthesis system dot in. Now notice it's giving me the red squiggly lines. And what that's saying is I probably need to import that. So I point to it, it says, yep, make sure you import the scanner. I click on that and it puts the import statement at the top. So we're good to go there. And I'm going to say syso. Before I do that, I'm going to go back up a line. I'm going to say for left parenthesis int x equals 0 semicolon. Remember the for statement has 3 main blocks to it. The first one just says this is the initialize. We're going to create a variable called x. Initialize to 0. This one is our checker. The next phrase is our checker. X less than or equal to 4 semicolon x plus plus. We're basically saying that I want to create a variable called x. It's an integer data type. We're going to initialize to 0. Every time we go through the loop, we're going to check this, make sure x is less than or equal to 4. And at the end of every loop, we're going to basically add 1 to it, x plus plus. I put in my left brace. Now I'm good to go. So I'm going to make sure that I put that system out I just put in there. Once you get caught up. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go through here and have you as the user enter in some student names. And I want 5 names, 0 through 4. I'm going to say enter student name. Now, another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change this from a print line to do a print because I want the insertion point to stay on the same line. And then I'm going to come down here and say keyboard dot I got backwards there. So I need to say students, left square bracket, x, right square bracket, is equal to keyboard dot in next int, or next string, I'm sorry, next line. I think I'm going to have to put in a syso just to double quote inside of there because it needs to do a print line to move down the line. So that just basically, what that did right there is that loaded the array. So first time through it was a 0, so at bookshelf 0. It asks for a student name, you type it in, it then basically puts that into the student at the X. So right here it says put it in this bookcase at this shelf.
Do you have a space between your quotes or
No, I don't. Yeah.
Okay.
So then I come back around, I ask for another student's name. It says go to this bookcase, go to this shelf number, and then basically put that student name there. So it goes through, goes through, goes through. Then I can come down here and just do a for int x. Oh, let's make it I this time. Int I equals 0. Or you know what? You know what we could do instead? We could say for string student or the other way. I think it's the other way. Students, comma string now.
What are you trying to do now?
I was going to do that. Use that. The area is I don't use this stuff every day, so I don't have it completely fully memorized. Well, let's just go ahead and do the old way. So we'll do int I equals 0, comma x less than or equal to 4, semicolon, semicolon, I plus plus. If I get rid of that x, it's xi less than or equal to 4. So it's exactly like line 12, identical to line 12, except I'm using an I to do my open braces. And then I'm just going to say sys student I plus 1. Okay, so I've got the same exact for loop on line 12. It says for int I equals 0. It says I'm initializing a variable that's an integer data type. I'm initializing 0, and while that I is less than or equal to 4, I'm going to keep going through this loop. At the end of every loop, I'm going to say I plus plus, which is adds 1 to I. And then it basically says print student. I say plus, that's going to be the student number. I'm going to put a pound sign right here. The student number and then the student. Now the reason I'm doing I plus 1 is because the first time through it's 0. I'd like for the student numbers to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I add 1 to the I, it will then basically do what I want it to do. So if I run this, student name, I'll say George. Student name is Bill, Sue, Peter, and Jenny. Hit the enter key, it comes back and says student number 1 is George, student number 2 is Bill, student number 3 is Sue, student number 4 is Peter, student number 5 is Jenny. So it did exactly as I wanted. So again, right up here, this creates the bookcase. This right here, should say this guy right here, adds the bookshelves. And then this guy allows me to load it. So I just say the bookcase at that bookshelf is equal to something, and then basically load each shelf one at a time. And then when I want to unload it, I can just basically unload this basically the same way. I just say the bookcase at that bookshelf number. You get to work?
Yes, but we need to put a space between 1
Yeah.
and then...
Yeah, we could do that. We could just put a... Is your OCD kicking in right now?
Yes,
So,
it is.
yeah. Yeah. Okay, so that's just a basic array. There's nothing special about it. It's just a basic array. There's nothing magical there. Okay. Now another thing we can do is I'm going to come up here and do a right click on my default package and point to class, and we are going to put array 02. Make it a public static void main, click finish.
Oh, what are we doing
And
now?
I just created a new class called it array02, and then make sure it puts check mark in the public static void main. So this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in string. I'm going to call it month. And then put a left square bracket, right square bracket. And I'm going to say it's equal to a left brace, the word January, comma, February, comma, March, comma, I'm going to come down a line, April, comma, May, comma, June, comma, July, September, October, November, and finally December. Okay. So now, this is a different kind of array. I basically said I want to create a bookcase called month. I can see it's a bookcase because it's an array, a bookcase because it's got the empty braces around it, or the empty square brackets. Then I say it's equal to left square or left brace, and then I type in each one of those manually. So this creates the array and loads it at the same time. So now I can basically say scanner, keyboard, so I'm going to say scanner keyboard equals new scanner and system in. And again, it's giving me the red squiggle line because it says you need to import the scanner. Hello? So there I have my my scanner keyboard equals new scanner system in, And again, I get the red squiggly lines because I need to import the scanner. So I point the scanner and click on import, and there I have it. So there's my import scanner. And now I can come down here and say syso, hit my control space, enter month number. And again, come down here and say syso month left square bracket. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? Forgot to get a. Oh, let me get a. I'm going to say int month num is equal to keyboard dot next int. Then I'm going to say syso month left square bracket month num plus or minus 1. Now, why would I say month num minus 1? Any idea?
Minus 1. It would add 1, wouldn't it?
Because I'm having them type in the actual month number. So if they want June and they type in a 6,
Minus 1.
yeah, so remember, arrays start at 0. So in this case, January is 0, February is 1, okay, so on and so forth. So if I wanted June as number 6, 6 is really July. So I need to subtract 1 from that month number to actually get the proper month. So if I run this guy and I type in 6, it comes back 2. So I'm telling it, hey, there is an array, it's a string data type, it's called month. I'm loading it with those 12 variables, and each one of those, again, a month is a bookshelf. So since month is a bookshelf, I'm telling it it's going to have 12 bookshelves, and then I'm going to then load each one of those bookshelves with data. So bookshelf number 0 has January, bookshelf number 1 has February, so on and so forth. And then I have you enter a month number. And again, if I type in 6 like I did down below, that's, so January 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That would be July. So in order to get the proper month, I would have to subtract 1 from it, which is what I do right here.
Oh, I had done month number somewhere.
Okay.
And of course, that made the month num that work.
I see.
I just had to add it.
So again, just a little review. This is a preloaded array. So we created the array and loaded at the same time. The other one we did earlier was an empty array, and we loaded it, and then basically had it go through a loop to get the data out. Now, in the data structures book on page 238 is something called an array list. Now, an array list is a little different than an array. An array list is an object, so it already exists, and we're going to basically use it just like we would an array, except an array list has a lot more features. For example, if we take a look at this array right here, I've got January through December. If I wanted to remove December out of that array, I cannot do it. Well, I could do it.
But it's still there.
Well, I could do it, but I would have to create a new array and copy everything from the old array to the new array except for December, and then that new array I could rename back to the old array, and that's a lot of work, okay? What if I wanted to insert a new month between May and June? Same exact thing. I'd have to create a new array, go through it till I got to May, add my new month, and then continue on with June. Again, not the best way to do that. What if I wanted to replace June with a new month? Again, same thing. I cannot, well, that would be easy enough to do. I could go in and just go in and say that that month is now this new month. So that's easy enough to do. The inserting, deleting, those are things we just can't do. So, one of the best features we can do, again, I'm going to do a right click on the default package, and I'm going to point to new, and I'm going to click class, and this time I'm going to type array list example. I'm going to do a public static void main, click finish. And down here, I'm going to tab over and I'm going to say capital A, array list. I'm going to put in a less than symbol, and I'm going to type in the word string. We'll talk about what that here is in just a second. We'll call this students, and it's going to be equal to a new array list, and again we have to put the less than symbol, string, and then on the right side of that greater than symbol I have to put my left and right parenthesis. Again, that basically tells me it's a constructor. Now again, if we see the red squiggly lines, that is telling us that we need to import the array list class so that we can use it. So if I point to that red squiggly line, it says import array list, click on it, sure enough, import java.util array list, and we are good to go. Now, before we continue, array list, that's a class. It has a whole bunch of instance variables, it has a whole bunch of methods, it has a whole bunch of stuff. The less than, string, greater than symbol, that says this array list is going to be this data type. That's what that says. Since array list is already a class, I can't put string in front of a class, so string is a class as well. I can't put a class in front of a class. That's not how we declare it. So I have to treat this as a regular class, but I have to tell it what type of data type. So that's what that less than, string, greater than says. It says this array list can only hold strings. I can put an int in there, I can put a double in there, I can put a long, I can put any one of the different data types available to us. I type in students equals new array list string. Again, I got to make sure I put my left and right parentheses for my constructor. So now, here's where it gets fun. So now I can do this. I can say syso, control space, double quote, enter student's name, colon, space, and there I'm going to say, oh, you know what I forgot? I'm going to go back up to below the, I'll wait till you get done with that. Are you done typing? Okay. And I'm going to type in scanner space keyboard equals new scanner left parentheses system dot in and put some columns in. Make sure you import your scanner. See how you are? So then down here on just below the enter student's name line, I'm going to say students dot. Now notice it's an object now, and that object is basically it's an array list object. It now is going to show us all of those different methods available to us. The very first one we see there is one called add. We're going to go ahead and utilize add. So I hit the enter key. This is where I'm going to then basically say keyboard dot next line. Then a semicolon at the end. Notice, I'm not dealing with bookshelf numbers. We call those indexes. I'm not dealing with indexes. I don't care about bookshelf numbers. This is kind of a different bookcase. We create the bookcase and we just create bookshelves on the fly when we need them. We can delete bookshelves on the fly when we don't need them. So then, I could have put that into a loop. But now I can say sys-o, control space, students dot get and then I can type in a 0. Now there I'm going to deal with the index. Okay. Second one put. So if I were to run this, so I'm going to go to the book. I'm going to show you the tables that are in the book there. So it talks about the array list, and notice I've got get I, I've got set I, I've got add, I've got remove. Those are some of the different methods we can utilize. And down here on the bottom of page 239, I can get the size of that array. I can get is it empty or not? Does it hold data? Get first, get last, add first, add last, remove last. So I can actually tell it to get the very first element in that array list and grab the very last element in the array list. I can get size. What is size? That is how many elements, how many bookshelves this guy has. Okay, I can do the same thing with an array as well, but the array list has a lot more methods available to us. So, if I run this real quick, under the student name, I'm going to type in Mark. It says the student is Mark. So, very, very easy to use. So, let me do this. I'm going to comment this out. I'm going to comment this out. And, I want to comment that one out as well. And I'm going to say students dot add. I'll put in left right first thing. I'm going to put in double quote Bill. Students dot add double quote. Whoop. Sue. Students dot add. And then I'm going to do a for Let's see if I can find that really slick for loop. Well, I guess we'll do it the old way. I'm going to say int x equals 0, semicolon, while x is less than or equal to. Now, right now, I know how many elements there are. There's 4 elements. But if I don't know, I can do this. I can actually say students dot size, semicolon. So I'm saying x, well, x is less than or equal to the size of the array. Meaning how many bookshelves does it have? I'm going to say x plus plus. Open brace. So it doesn't matter how many students I have, it's always going to do that. So then I'm going to say syso students dot get x. It says get this element at this index. Then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to say students dot remove, and I'm going to say 2. I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste that for loop and paste it below that remove. So, here I add 4 names, I print them out via a loop, I remove an element, and I print them all out. Let's see what happens. So I run this, I click, whoop, what did it say? Out of bounds exception.